VIDEOTECH.
Hello and welcome to a special spooky episode of Return to Videotech, the show where two dinguses break down the movies we love and share our affection for physical media with you. On this episode, we're taking a little road trip with our old buddy Michael Myers from Illinois all the way to California to track down his long-lost sister and little nephew Josh Hartnett as we dissect Halloween H20. We'll also be bringing you a few spooky season Criterion Collection recommendations, because even though spooky season is coming to a close, the next Barnes and Noble 50% off sale is right around the corner. And we have a lot to talk about this episode, and we're starting late per usual. So without further delay, I'm Keith, and with me as always is my friend, co-host, and number one dingus, Matt. How's it going, dude?
I'm Matt, and with me as always is my lifelong buddy, Bob. Looking good. Bob in the house. I failed the assignment of coming dressed up. I did toy with ordering the same thing as you, but I was like, I don't know. I feel like I would be stealing your thunder a little bit if I showed up as Bob too.
Well, you know who else stole my thunder, actually? Is the
Who's
guy
that?
who directed the movie that we're going to talk about that I saw in the theaters, Chris Stuckman.
Oh,
I saw him post on Instagram that he was dressed as this too. This is not a unique costume. I think a lot of people are dressing up like this year.
I think there will be a lot of Bobs this year. I guess I could have been, Sensei, Benicio del Toro.
Oh, that would have been good.
Would have been a good pair. I did. I think you're drinking pre-workout again tonight, right?
Yeah, I had a long day at the pumpkin patch,
I
so
understand that.
I need to pick me up.
I understand. I did bring a beverage for the show though, and it's the last one that I have for the season, and it is the Dogfish Head famed pumpkin ale. Like you said,
Nice.
like both of us have said. I mean, I know you're not into pumpkin beers. I'm mostly not either, but this is the one for me. This is the goat of pumpkin beers, and I buy it every year. And of course, it was better when it only came in bottles, but it's a tasty beverage and a good way to close out spooky season with one of my favorite seasonal beers, and maybe the number one for me in horror franchises. I mean, there's a bunch of Halloween movies that we could do. I know we're doing H2O, but Halloween is definitely like my horror franchise.
Yeah, I would say out of like the Holy Trinity, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween,
Yeah.
I think Halloween is probably the most popular worldwide, in
Yeah,
general.
they all have like pretty classic opening entries, but Halloween, the first one, is probably the only one that I could like argue its way into like my top 10 of all time. Like I hold it like that high up.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty
Yeah.
good. So we'll get into that in a little bit here, but to start off the show this week, we're skipping blind buy segment. We're just going to talk about some stuff we saw in the theaters, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Do you want to start off with talking about what you saw?
Sure, yeah. I actually saw something with Zach. We went to see the new Derek Cianfrance movie, which is so weird that we did The Place Beyond the Pines not too long ago, and it really was not on my radar at that time that he had a new movie coming out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it was on the list of movies that we wanted to do. It really had nothing to do with the fact that he had one about to come out. I mean, I was pretty oblivious to that. I think I had maybe seen the trailer for Roofman once. I didn't really remember it. Like I said, it just wasn't even on my radar. But then shortly after we did The Place Beyond the Pines, I was like, oh, Derek Cianfrance has a movie coming out. And weirdly enough, I thought it was going to be like a limited release. But when Lindsay and I were up in the Finger Lakes area, just the small theater in Penn Yan, which only had 3 screens, one of them was showing Roofman, which I was kind of surprised by. Which, by the way, saw Dustin up in Penn Yan. Just the mayor of Penn Yan. Just walk around Penn Yan with Dustin, and he knows everybody.
He knows everybody.
Yeah, super cool.
I miss Dustin. Dustin, if you're listening, I love you.
He will be. He comments. He was talking to me a lot about the show.
Okay, sweet.
He wanted Lindsay to do her Diane Keaton impression from Godfather 2, and she wouldn't do it still. So I saw Roofman with Zach, and I thought it was okay. There was parts of it that I was like, yeah, this is cool, but it's a biographical movie about a guy that y- lives in a friggin' Toys R Us for maybe months, uh, overnight. It's interesting because you're like, how does this guy do all this stuff? And the idea is that this guy is kind of a lovable criminal. Like he doesn't want to hurt anybody. He's portrayed as like really smart but can't find his way in the world. He was like in the military and just never really found a way to forge his life. But he has this whole romantic connection with Kirsten Dunst, and I don't know. I just found him to not be there. He had like zero charm, and I think that's maybe supposed to be a part of his character, but it just didn't really feel as smooth as I probably would have hoped for, and it really wasn't entertaining enough when it was being funny either to like be a knock it out of the park experience. But I thought it was okay. I mean, it's not like a clunker. Like it's solid. But it was a little long for how much content there really was, and I don't know. It's fine. It was definitely better than Derek Cianfrance's third movie, which I don't think we talked about. It was called like A Light Between Oceans, which was some like I think it was like an adaptation of like a romance novel or something. I don't know. I was excited to see that at the time just because I was such a fan of his work, but that was not very good. This was better than that, and uh, Ben Mendelsohn in the mix, so pretty happy about that. He plays this like pastor and is like singing all of these Christian songs. It takes place in and around Charlotte, and I believe was filmed mostly on location there. So, that was hitting a little close to home just from how much time I spend there with my family. But I don't know. I think you could totally not see Roofman and be fine, but
Hmm.
it's not like a regrettable experience either. Okay.
That's kind of surprising. I heard really good things about it. Like I heard it was people were surprised by like how heartfelt it was is what I was reading online. But
I I can see why certain parts of it would have that effect on people, but I was just struggling to buy this character having, like I said, any semblance of charm. It felt like he should have had a little bit of charm, and he mostly
yeah.
just came off as like really awkward and didn't know how to interact with people. And maybe that's supposed to be true to the person it's based off of,
Hmm.
but it just kind of made me feel not great. Like I'm like I don't really want to interact with this guy.
Yeah. It's super interesting that that director, Seeing France, seemed to like take such a big break after
I
Place Beyond the
know.
Pines and that whatever that other movie he did afterwards was. But
Yeah, and we
yeah.
talked about it on that episode, but like to me, it was like in a short period of time, within 2 or 3 years, doing Blue Valentine and The Place Beyond the Pines, I was like, man, this guy, this is going to be one for me to watch. And then yeah, just really 10 years of nothing moving the needle. And I listen, I do think he's a good director, and I want him to continue getting opportunities to make movies. Like I'm not like I'm done with this guy. It's
Hmm.
just this wasn't quite hitting for me on the level of like a Blue Valentine or Place Beyond the Pines. We'll say that.
Right. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
maybe I'll wait for that one to hit VOD or Blu-ray or something.
Yeah, I mean, look, if your choices are between that and like the new Tron movie, I'd be like, see Roofman, And I
Right.
say that not seeing the new Tron movie.
Yeah. Well, the two big ones that I was choosing between when I went to the theater last week or a few days ago it was I think, um, were that Roofman and
Yeah.
the movie that I saw, Shelby Oaks.
Yes.
Um, do you know anything about this movie? Do you know
I
about
know
the director?
I know zero. I saw that you posted that you were seeing it, and that was the first I had ever seen or heard of, or that, like it was on my radar at all. And then like shortly thereafter, I started seeing like other posts about it. So
Okay.
you broke it into my world, and now I like can't stop seeing references to it.
Okay, we must be on two totally different algorithms then, because I'm getting ads left and right everywhere for it. Instagram, YouTube,
I think
just
it must be
everywhere.
because yeah, I must have liked your post on it, and now I'm getting them.
And now you're getting it. That's
Yeah,
the algorithm at its doing its best, you
that's
know.
right. Yeah,
But so The reason I was so hyped to see this movie is because it's actually directed by this guy, Chris Stuckman, who is a pretty famous, in YouTube terms, uh, movie critic. Like he's been doing movie reviews for, I don't know, 10 plus years, I think.
Oh wow.
Um, and he has a pretty substantial following, like 1 million followers or something. I didn't look it up, but he has a lot of followers. He's one of the biggest like YouTube movie critics. And I'd be
Okay.
lying if I didn't say that, he was like an inspiration for me to like try doing it myself, I don't
Oh
do a lot
wow.
of just like straight up reviews, but me and like in the past, me and my wife Chris, like when we lived in Tampa, we would watch his reviews before we'd go see movies together
Oh
to be like,
shit.
do we want to watch this or not? Because I think he has pretty good takes and stuff,
Yeah.
and I like his opinions on movies. He's like a pretty balanced guy. Like he dives into like the more obscure stuff at times, but he's also not so pretentious that he like is above talking about the newest Star Wars movie or something. So I like his taste in movies and stuff, and I agree with a lot of his takes. So I was very excited to go see this. Um, and on top of that, the fact that so this is his first feature, and it was, I guess they had a kind of a tumultuous, or maybe that's not the right word for it. He had a very low budget, but it was like a Kickstarter campaign.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I guess it played at some film festivals, and Neon ended up picking it
Oh,
up.
cool. Yeah.
So Neon's like a big distributor, kind of.
Definitely. Yeah. Recognizable at least.
Yeah. And I'm forgetting the guy's name. A very big name in horror. Um,
Eli Roth.
no, Mike Flanagan.
Oh yeah.
He put his name on it. Like in the opening credits, it
Oh
says
cool.
Mike Flanagan presents.
Yeah, he's a guy I
Um,
forget about, but he is cool. Like he's done good stuff over the last like decade or so now.
yeah, he did some show on Netflix that I really liked about vampires. I
Okay.
can't remember the name of it, but
Yeah, that's a ringing endorsement.
yeah. But he's a big name in
Yeah.
horror. But anyways, that's a big long preamble for why I was excited to see the movie. Long story short, I felt a little let down. I think the trailers were really good and it got me really hyped. And like the premise of the movie is basically it's about this girl who goes missing who is a YouTuber who who does like paranormal investigations,
Oh, fun. Yeah.
and she goes missing in this kind of Silent Hill-esque type deserted town. There's like
Okay.
a deserted Ferris wheel and like this small, I don't know. But anyways, it just kind of felt like this movie where it's like it's one of those ones where it's like this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens. So it's like one of my main complaints was the characters. You don't really get to know the characters all that well. They're just kind of there. Um, it does have a cool structure though. It starts out like I would say like the first 15 or 20 minutes of the movie is it's like showing the footage of this. Well, I take that back. The beginning is more of like a mockumentary, and
Okay.
then it kind of transitions into you're seeing these tapes from the paranormal investigations,
So there is
and
like a
then
found
it turns,
footagey, right? Like
huh?
I guess like a found footagey type look
Yeah,
during
so
this.
it's weird. It starts like
Yeah.
pseudo documentary,
Yeah.
then like a little bit of like real movie, and then a big section of found footage, yeah,
Okay.
of like tapes from the paranormal investigations, and then it just turns into a real movie.
Oh
And
wow.
it's like it's a cool structure, and Stuckman does like a really good job of like transitioning between them. Like the first like mockumentary part of the beginning of it all happens, and then it cuts to like the opening credits kind of, which is cool,
Okay.
like the title card. So I feel like that's been happening recently too in the last few years. Like there'll be like a really long opening, and then you'll
Definitely.
get boom like the title
Yeah.
card.
It's
Um,
the Departed entrance.
yeah, so I thought that was cool, and it was like really well done for a first movie. I would say like it looks really nice. The real
That's
movie stuff
awesome.
is like, if you watch the trailer, you'll see a lot of like the really cool shots and stuff. The cinematography looks really nice. Um, but ultimately, yeah, it was just kind of I don't even really know how to describe it. Like it just kind of felt like this happens, then this happens, then this happens, and there's not really any mystery to it either. You kind of know what's going on right away. Uh,
Does it
but
feel suspenseful at all?
I mean, there are some good scenes where suspense is building, but then to me, I was kind of let down because I don't really want to spoil it because it is like brand new. It just came out this week,
Sure.
I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah. Don't spoil it.
Um, I won't spoil it, but yeah, it was good, not great. I think I gave it like 3 stars on Letterboxd.
You should.
It was
Yeah.
more interesting to me just because of the whole backstory of how like a YouTuber went from being a critic to a filmmaker, which is awesome, I think.
No, that is awesome, and I had no idea. I don't know that guy's name. Not that that means anything because I'm just not never paying attention to anything that's going on in the internet or the world. So
Hmm.
not really like
Yeah.
doesn't really say anything about that guy that I don't know who he is. But I that's an awesome story to hear that
Hmm.
he was just making YouTube videos, doing reviews, and then gets enough of a following that he can get investment capital to make his own movie. That's
Hmm.
really cool. That I will say, if that was on the table for us, the anxiety that would come with the movie we'd end up making, I think we'd end up just fleeing the country with the money because we'd be like, this sucks. We'd
Dude,
be
the
like,
the the pressure of having to do all the like the press tour even would be like too much for me. Like he's popping up on like Letterbox's Instagram and stuff. Like they asked
oh
him
yeah,
his top four and stuff. Like the fact that Neon put their weight behind this is like
yeah,
insane. Like there's other stories of other YouTubers making movies and stuff,
yeah,
and they're all small indie movies or
sure,
Kickstarter movies. This is like the first one that comes to my memory of somebody taking it to festivals and then getting picked up by a major distributor like Neon.
yeah. It's a great story, and I when you retell like your experience with this movie, I have like flashbacks to me being a part of going to see something. I can't think of a specific example right now, but there's been different times in my life where like I've been excited about a project or something from very early on, from my connection with someone that preceded
Hmm.
like them making it to another level or whatever, and just like having this long build and then going to see it and then being like, oh, that was okay.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah, I
is
mean, I don't
always
want to downplay it because like it is a major achievement for
yeah,
somebody to make that happen, for a first feature especially to
yeah,
have this much exposure and
definitely.
it's not a bad movie. I think my expectations were just like a little bit too high considering all like the whole backstory and just the fact that Flanagan and Neon were involved. I was like pretty
Yeah.
hyped.
I mean, sometimes you get your expectations so high that it's hard for the movie to meet that. Trust me, I do it
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah. You should at least watch the trailers because the trailers are pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in, and with me knowing like nothing about the backstory, it would be interesting for me to go into it and then see what my experience is with it.
Yeah, for sure.
I actually started watching Weapons last night because it's on HBO Max now, but I didn't make it.
Hmm.
I fell asleep, but I am like digging it. I'm just gonna restart it. I'm not even gonna like pick it back up. I'm just gonna restart it. But
Yeah.
I'm already like, yeah, it's gonna be. I don't know where it's heading, exactly yet,
Hmm.
but I can already tell that I'm like, oh yeah, this. I have big hopes for this movie and where it will land on my overall rankings for the year.
Nice. I'm excited for you to finally watch it so we can talk about it because that's like the most fun thing about that movie is like not knowing where it goes and that experience doesn't happen all that often at the theater anymore.
For
Like
sure.
it goes some places that I wasn't expecting. So,
All right, you want to do a quick physical media roundup?
sure, yeah. Do you have anything to show off?
I do have one thing that came in the mail recently, and it pairs nicely with our last episode. This is the 4K edition of Knock Knock, directed by Eli Roth, which is, of course, a remake or a reimagining of Death Game, which we did
Hmm.
on the last episode as I assigned to you as homework, and features Ana de Armas and Lorenza Izzo as the two women characters who show up to just destroy the life of the male character, the male lead played by Keanu Reeves, who really just hamming it up in this. Super fun movie, super fun remake, insane ending. I haven't watched it in a while, but it's a I think it's a great movie. And the downfall of this, and I know you mentioned to me before we started recording, and it is, I mean, the very flimsy, very thin copy. Um, Not a lot to really feel all that great about in terms of the quality of the release. Not the actual I mean, I still have it. It's still in shrink wrap. So, maybe someday it'll come out and I'll tell you about what the rest of it's like. But I mean, I don't know how you are if we've talked about this before, but I tend to keep something in shrink wrap until I'm getting ready to watch it the first time.
Yeah, I usually do that too.
Yeah. So this will sit there until I do that. But when as soon this was a as soon as they announced it, it was an immediate buy for me.
Hmm.
Uh,
I know
I
you're not as tuned into, the YouTube, Instagram movie world as I am, but that release is very controversial right now because of the super thin packaging. Apparently the disc is fine, but
Yeah, yeah.
us weirdos care about the packaging, so
Look, I, to me, the movie is the most important part. If I get cool packaging, I'm happy with it. If my packaging is like damaged, I'm really unhappy. But I don't need everything to be like a chunky box that comes with like a Funko Pop.
yeah.
Like I don't need.
T-shirt.
Yeah, I don't need all that stuff. Like bare bones is fine with me. But I get. I'm not thrilled that it's like this really flimsy like digipack thing. It's not. I'm not excited about it, but I'm happy to have the movie, and I'm happy that they put it out.
Yeah. Is that
What
all you
about you?
got?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
guess before we move on to you, I should say that there was a Criterion flash sale, and this is a little follow up from the last episode. So I wasn't expecting it. Now, when they do these flash sales, it's random. It just happens, and it's for like 24 hours. I thought there's usually one in February, and I guess maybe you know this. Maybe it's normal that there's usually one right around the time of the Barnes and Noble
mhm.
November sale. Do you think that's true, or do you not know?
I feel like you're right. It does always happen a couple weeks before the Barnes and Noble sale. And I don't know why because it seems like an odd strategy to me to put everything on sale on the website like 2 weeks before an
Yeah.
in-store sale, but I don't know.
So I did. I ordered three. And I am at a point now where it's like I'm mostly just ordering 4Ks. Like if it's something that I really feel like I need out of the collection that I don't have and it's only a Blu-ray, it's possible I could get it, but I'm mostly only ordering 4Ks. So I got three 4Ks, and one is a blind buy. You Can Count on Me, which is a Kenneth Longerman movie, which he directed Manchester by the Sea, and I've never seen like any of his other movies. So, and I've wanted to for a while. So I got that one. I am not getting the Wes Anderson box set, but I did get the French Dispatch 4K. Even though I was like kind of down on it the two times I've watched it, I'm like, it's one of these movies that I'm now convincing myself that maybe there's something more there. I don't,
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't think I'll ever buy Isle of Dogs on its own, but
I
you
know
know what I
that one
mean?
is like kind of looked down upon, but I love that one. I don't know
Okay,
why.
good.
I'm a big dog person, so
No, I'm glad. I'm glad you like it. I was kind of I was fine with it. I had a good time with it in the theater, but I was sort of like, eh. You're probably a little bit more into animation than I am too.
yeah, and it has a lot of like, or it's heavily influenced by like Japanese movies and stuff
Definitely.
too. So
Yeah.
that's probably another reason why I like it so much.
So I did get the French Dispatch, and we'll see. The jury's out.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll. I feel like I've opened the door that I'm maybe more into the French Dispatch than I've ever said before. So I don't know
Nice.
why. I just had a moment where I was like, all right, French Dispatch. And last but not least, Keith, after me going on what Lindsay called a tirade on this show that I would not buy Twin Peaks Firewalk with Me in 4K, I have purchased Twin Peaks Firewalk with Me in 4K.
Was she mad
And
about it, or she doesn't care?
um, I don't think, I think she's sort of at a point where it's like she's just numb to it. I do think she can get behind what you said though, which is like she knows that that's just like one of my favorite movies. She also knows that like Twin Peaks is just one of my favorite things. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's up there with all all media, all things that I like in my life. Like Twin Peaks is just um, up there. I mean, I like it as much as I like any like sports team, even.
Hmm.
So I think she's okay with it. But
It's giving you a pass.
yeah, I think you kind of planted the seed on the show when you were like, yeah, but I feel like it's okay for you in this sense because of how much you love it. And I was like, you know what? Keith's right.
I'm sorry, Lindsay.
Listen, he's a damn voice of reason, okay? So I did get it. And no regrets. So I can't wait for this to show up. And yeah, then we got the big Barnes and Noble sale coming up soon. Oh, one last note though. My plan was to get A History of Violence, and it was sold out.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
On the
so
website, it's sold out.
it was sold out on the website. It said out of stock when I tried to get it.
Oh, that's one that I really want to get. I really want to get that Altered States and Spinal Tap
Yeah,
in the
so
sale. So,
we'll see. I'm expecting that it'll be restocked or whatever, but during the sale, it definitely ran out.
that stinks.
So that was probably like what I would have got instead of French Dispatch. But then I was like, oh, I'm so bummed that they don't have A History of Violence. And I was like, you know what movie maybe I like more than I've ever said? The French Dispatch. So that's it. Sorry. Okay, I wanted to cover that off. Let's do your quick
That's
physical
okay.
media.
Well, I did order something, one movie, but it didn't show up in time. I ordered the Scream Factory like special hard slipcase edition of Halloween H20
Oh yeah,
for this episode, and it just didn't show up in time.
and it's a
Um,
4K, right?
yeah, it is. I
I'm at,
have the VHS and a DVD, and I watched it on HBO for the show. It's on HBO right now, so. And I think the HBO version was in 4K,
yeah. No,
but I kind of wanted to get that in to see if there was any cool new special features that I haven't seen before we recorded, but it just didn't get here in time. But
I was going to bring that up. That I also watched it on HBO Max, and I was like, this looks really great. This must be a 4K scan. And then I did look up that there had been a recent 4K release.
okay, yeah, yeah, they probably just took whatever Shout Factory did or whatever. But I do have one cool physical thing to show.
Please.
Probably not everybody will be into this, but this is like spooky season themed. And it also kind of ties into Shelby Oaks a little bit because I was getting like heavy Silent Hill vibes. I went to my video game store and I traded in a bunch of stuff and got the original Silent Hill on PS1, which I've never played. I've played 2 and 3 and some of the other random ones, but never played the original, and I'm excited. This is a very rare and expensive. Well, I
That's
guess it's
awesome.
not very rare, but it's like an expensive game.
Yeah, you'll have to let me know like when you play through it what it's like. I never played Silent Hill 1. I definitely played one of them and I was like having a hard time with it because there was like a puzzle element to it and I just wasn't like
Hmm.
solving the puzzles whatever. Um but I will tell you Resident Evil 1 for PlayStation 1.
Hmm.
I like would sit down in my basement playing that by myself and scare the shit out of myself.
Yeah, I was gonna say I played Silent Hill 2 and 3 both for the first time. I want to say maybe 2 or 3 years ago when I started collecting old video games and like VHS tapes and stuff. I played it like on a PS2 on the CRT TV, and dude, I was playing in my basement, lights off and everything. I was legit getting scared. Like
Yeah, yeah,
those
yeah.
games actually are pretty scary. Um,
Is in this I do kind of feel like the Silent Hill movie is like not bad.
it's not bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
I quite enjoy the Silent Hill. Didn't we go see that in the theater, or did
I
I go
think
see that with somebody else?
well, I definitely saw it in the theater. I can't remember if we saw it together, but I feel like it would have been around the time that we probably would have.
I feel like we went with our friends Sarah and Justine, didn't we?
That could yeah, that sounds right.
I think we did. I
Yeah,
don't think
which
they listen to the show, but
yeah, I think not. Yeah, that's funny. Yes, super cool us taking girls to see like crappy horror movies,
not our girlfriends, by the way. They were just our friends.
but based off of like video games in particular.
Yeah.
Well, I will say though that was the era like between '03 and '07 I saw like so many horror movies in the theater. I mean, you
Uh-huh.
remember like that was like when, The Ring,
Saw.
Grudge
Uh-huh.
2, Like Freddy vs. Jason was somewhere in that time period.
The Ring, all that
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. Just so many. So yeah, it was quite a run. I mean, there's always a lot of horror movies because teenagers go see them, and they're a nice moneymaker because they're usually cheaper to make.
Hmm.
So, but I do remember going to see so many horror movies over between that like '03, '07 time period.
Right. It was a good time, in my opinion. Some would say it was a bad time for horror movies, but I like a lot of those. I feel very nostalgic for those movies. Those are like our generation's, Friday the 13th movies that would come out, every year. That's the Saw movies and
Yeah. Well, like the late '90s had their little run, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then like that kind of 2002, 2003 through 2006, 2007 was its own era. And
mhm,
then it became something else. And then like sort of like the post 2010 became like the elevated horror era.
mhm.
And so now we're ready for something new.
Yeah. All right.
All
Well,
right,
should we move on to something not so new? Halloween
please.
H2O?
Yes.
All right, Matt, it's time to talk about Halloween H2O. Get this thing started.
In the late '90s, Dawson's Creek creator Kevin Williamson had a stranglehold on the horror genre, leaning into classic horror self parody, effective jump scares, and teenage sex drama. In a short 2 year window, four Williamson penned features would hit theaters between '96 and '98, with Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Scream 2, and The Faculty. Also hitting theaters in 1998 was Halloween H2O. While it didn't officially credit Williamson, he did consult on the movie, with his most notable contribution being the ending sequence, which simultaneously allowed for an end of Michael Myers and unknowingly to viewers at the time left the door open for a continuation. Halloween H2O is a great example of how movies bend to immerse themselves in whatever the current trends in film culture are. This entry in the franchise, at least for me, introduced the idea of wiping out other movies from the series and is considered to be a continuation following the sequel to the original 1978 John Carpenter classic. While there was some initial mutual interest in Carpenter returning, the studio would eventually move forward with Steve Miner at the helm. Miner had some previous horror sequel experience in the Friday the 13th franchise, but certainly lacked the career and allure when compared to Carpenter. The big get was, of course, Jamie Lee Curtis returning as Laurie Strode, reprising one of her most famous characters from her career. In many ways, Halloween H2O stands apart from the typical Halloween formula, many of which feature the triangle of Michael, his main victim, and everyone's beloved Dr. Loomis. H2O focuses heavily on Laurie's struggles to cope with what happened to her in the events of the first movie, both leading to alcohol addiction and challenges with parenting her only son, played by Josh Hartnett in his feature film debut. The cast also features an early Michelle Williams performance, who was experiencing a rise to prominence as one of the leads in Dawson's Creek. LL Cool J, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Janet Leigh are among the recognizable names in the cast. Perhaps where H2O falls short of other teen horror movies of the era is it lacks other star power in the roles of the additional high schoolers. The Halloween franchise currently consists of 13 films and will certainly continue onward for years to come. But H2O will always be one of the memorable entries that captured the essence of a filmmaking era and upon its release was the highest grossing Halloween movie to that point. Its unique setting, paired with nods to the original and some new flair, make it totally worth jumping back into when spooky season rolls around. And we're going to dive into it here on Return to Videotech. So, Keith, love Halloween. But like the original, as I said earlier, is like such an important movie to me. I love the franchise. I'm always in for it no matter what. There's definitely been a lot of ups and downs. I know you really like this one, and I'm with you. Like this one's in my top 5 of the Halloween movies for sure. And it just it has a very distinct feel to it because it was like blending into that what was popular at the time in those late '90s movies with what was going on with all those Kevin Williamson movies. And I don't think I knew for years until I like researched it for this viewing that he was involved in this because his name's not in the credits like anywhere.
Yeah, I feel like I had heard that somewhere before, and then you look it up on IMDb, and yeah, he's not credited, and he doesn't show up in the actual credits either. But I was mentioning to you before we started recording, just
Yeah.
a minor connection to one of the movies that we bring up on the show. We talked about it once before. One of the screenplay writers, Matt Greenberg, also wrote the screenplay for Reign of Fire.
Oh, yes. Classic Heath movie.
Classic
I
dad bro movie.
Yeah. I'm also
I
happy
don't
we're
I
doing
don't think that has anything to do with why I like this movie. I think I like this movie because I think the characters are fun. I like the setting. I've heard people complain about the setting, saying they don't like it because it's, California, not Haddonfield. I feel like there's something just like creepy about these like boarding school settings. Like a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
Italian horror movies take place, or at least pieces of them are take place in like boarding schools and stuff like that, and I feel like it's just like a cool setting. I don't know.
I
um,
absolutely love the setting too. And you know what, people? Haddonfield ain't real and it's filmed in California.
yeah, and I've heard people also say like, it doesn't really have like the spooky season vibes because it's not like Halloween 4 or the original where you're seeing kids run around in costumes and stuff, but you do get a little bit of that in the beginning. The beginning of this I love too, by the way, the whole like Joseph Gordon-Levitt stuff, and those
Yeah.
two characters are just I don't know, it's
What
awesome.
and you do get a little stuff in town too where they leave the school. But I'm with you. I think this setting is so cool. Like this fictional boarding school or whatever in this I believe a fictional California town called Summer Glen.
Yeah.
And I don't know, this whole thing it does stand apart from some other Halloween movies, and it doesn't have that like typical formula. Now it's weird because there's been so much stuff after this too, and if you want to find a cousin in the series to this one, I sort of feel like the David Gordon Green one, the first David Gordon Green one, has some similar ideas, like the idea of PTSD, Laurie Strode, like,
Hmm.
just ready to fight Michael.
Yeah, and I do also feel like this is kind of like a more, not really abstract, but just like another thing that I feel like is a differentiator between some of the older ones. Is like I said, like the characters are fun. Like I love LL Cool J's character,
Yeah.
and like the teenagers in this one. I think part of the reason why I like this movie so much too is the teenagers feel more like our generation of teenagers, whereas like the original, like Laurie Strode and those, like they didn't have the same dialect, and they didn't really talk the same way as like we did when we were growing up. So like this is the closest to like our version, I think.
No, I totally agree, and it had sort of been I don't know, I guess before this was Halloween 6, is that The Curse of Michael Myers?
Yeah.
And that's the one with Paul Rudd, and
Hmm.
I didn't see that until, like, I only saw that, like, probably within the last 10 years for the first time. I didn't see that when we
Hmm.
were, like, younger.
Hmm.
So I mean, my familiarity going into this one was just basically seeing all of the other ones like replayed on AMC or whatever, like every Halloween season. And I was
Yeah,
definitely
yeah, they
like,
would always. I would watch those too. It'd be like they'd play like 1 and 2, and then they would skip 3 and play 4 and 5 and
yep,
6.
yeah, yeah. I feel like they wouldn't show six that much though. Like I would
Yeah,
always see four and five, but I like never saw six
yeah.
on TV. And it might be because it sucks. I
Yeah, I
mean,
feel like they would skip. I could be wrong about this, but I feel like I remember them skipping 3 because when we were growing up, people did not like 3. 3
totally
has
agree.
had a
Yeah,
major resurgence in the last 10 years or
for
so of
sure.
people like really liking it.
I was
And
definitely in the camp of not liking it until I like got to a point where I'm like, oh yeah, this is actually awesome.
yeah, I even remember when I was younger just not even really giving it a chance, just being like, "Oh, I've heard this one sucks because it doesn't have Michael Myers in it."
Right,
It's like
right.
the anthology take, but
Yeah, which, on its own could have actually been a cool thing too if they
mhm.
did go on to do a different story every time. and it becomes an anthology movie series. I mean, who knows? That could have been cool too. It obviously didn't take, but
Yeah. I mean, I think you and Zach talking about it on your show, your previous show,
oh
is
yeah,
part of what got me to like take a second look at it and be like, okay, actually this is pretty fun.
yeah. It's actually like just such a fun ride and hilarious, but also just like cool in its own way too.
Yeah.
So the movie starts out very. I think you kind of already got there. I think very cool opening scene. Mr. Sandman playing over dimension pictures or whatever, and we start off with like this nurse woman in a suburban neighborhood. This opening scene and watching it this time, I'm telling you, like before I even like looked at research or anything, I just put it on and started watching it. And it had been a little while since I watched it. And I was like, this opening scene feels like fucking Scream.
It does. Even the score, I was thinking about like when the nurse goes back over to the neighbor's
Yeah.
house like the second time and finds the two teenagers killed, like the music that's playing and like I don't know, like the instruments that they use or something, it sounds exactly like the score from the original Scream to me.
And I had never had that moment with this movie before. And then I'm looking it up and reading about the Williamson stuff, and I'm like, duh, okay, this makes sense. I like this movie, but I've never been that hardcore of a fan that I really spent that much time with it. This was more like something that I just watched like once every 10 years or something. You know? But like now just viewing it through a little bit different lens, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. This is like so clearly part of all of the horror movies that were happening during that era. I will say it starts off tense. I think the jump scares, the fake out scares are effective in this opening sequence. Yeah?
Yeah, it feels very similar to a lot of the chase sequences in Scream. Like they do a lot of the stuff where it's like the camera will show like just around the corner of like a doorway or
Yeah.
something or like a mirror. That happens a couple times. Somebody opening or shutting like a medicine case or something. I feel like that happens at least once or twice. It's like, and the editing is really good. It feels like much more. It's a little different from the original like 70s ones, but
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I like the 90s style of editing.
No, I'm with you, and it actually might be some of the strongest stuff in the whole movie, and I like the whole movie through and through. But I feel like this whole opening segment is like really well done, and it just so takes me back to that era. And so we have this nurse woman who someone's broken into her house. We find out I think she was taking care of Dr. Loomis, or maybe I don't know if she was in a relationship with him. Obviously, he's
No, they say she was his caretaker,
yeah.
but they did live together. So they both lived in this house, but he had recently passed, I think.
So always a bummer, just because Dr. Loomis was a great character from this series, and he's no longer in the mix at this point. They do actually do like a little death scene for him in Halloween 6, and we get some voiceover stuff from him in the credit sequence, which is kind of fun. But needless to say, she's going to her neighbor's house to see if they can help. It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who we talked about in the Brick episode, and you're like, well, he was in Halloween H20.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, Keith had that one. And she kind of is looking to for them to help, and there's a few fake out scares that happen. They're going to go look at the house. They come back, and we say everything's fine. Obviously, it's not fine, though.
Yeah, can I just point out like one of the reasons again why I think I love this movie so much
Yeah.
is even right off the bat, this is the very beginning of the movie, and these are characters that are like they're only here for the first 10 minutes of the movie or so, and the Jimmy character, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, I feel like he's written so well in like the first 10 minutes. He's kind of like a little jerk. He like when he goes in the kitchen, he like takes a bite of the cookie and then he goes in he looks in the fridge and he steals a couple beers, and it's like it's just fun. It's like
Yeah.
a fun character that I don't know. I mean, I'm sure yeah, you can argue you get characters like this in other horror movies, but for I don't maybe it's just because I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt so much, but the fact that he is like one of these like characters that's there for 5 or 10 minutes and it's the beginning of the movie, that's part of why I love this movie.
Well, it's a good actor just taking a small part and making it be something.
Yeah, yeah.
So the cops do get called. She realizes that Michael is there and he's back because, I talked about in the intro briefly, this movie presupposes that everything after Halloween 2 did not happen, and this is a continuation from there. So Halloween 1 and then Halloween 2, which still takes place in the same night, which ends with Michael being burned,
Hmm.
burned alive. That all we're saying has happened, nothing else, and now here we are, and this is like the third movie.
Yeah.
So Michael hasn't been around for 20 years, and now he's back at this woman's house, and she has a little bit of a scare going on here. She goes back over next door and finds Joseph Gordon-Levitt with a hockey skate in his head.
Yeah. One of the coolest like finding a dead body moments, I feel like.
Just the most practical way to kill someone.
And it's cool. I like the fact that she just stumbles upon him and you don't see that happen. Like I feel like it's more surprising sometimes in these movies where it's like
Yeah.
it's almost like a haunted house thing where she goes back and she just bumps into the dead body and then runs into the other kid's dead body too.
He was killed by Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
The first guy to try to take his skate off and kill someone. So yeah, so it's both the kids that we met have been killed at this house, right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
And there's one of those moments where the cop then does show up next door and she's like trying to get his attention, and then you can see her in the window, but the cop is not seeing her. He's oblivious to it, and then he goes into the house, and then she just gets her throat slit from behind by Michael.
I feel like that whole bit is also very Scream-esque. That happens in Scream a lot, where like a character is just out of sight of help, you know?
Yes, yeah, I
It
know you did
happens all
last
the
summer
time.
too. Like the and I, it's probably I think one of the coolest parts, and I know what you did last summer is when, um, the Helen character, Sarah Michelle Gellar, is behind the tires. Like she's
Hmm.
running back out to the parade, and like the killer is like on the other side of the tires. It's just like right before she makes it to safety.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's one of those techniques that I feel like they use to build tension. You're like, oh, if the cop just looked, you're like,
I know.
it's one of those moments that gets the audience to yell at the screen, like, just look over there, you know?
So I'll just tell you, when I first put this on and watched this opening segment, I was like a little tense and a little on edge, and the jump scares were like, I was like, whoa, like it was like effective on me again.
Yeah, like you said, if you haven't watched it in a while, it's edited well.
Absolutely, I give it credit. So we kick into a credit sequence. Like I said, it does have the Dr. Loomis voiceover, and here's maybe one of the weirdest things about this movie. I feel like the title when it pops up, Halloween H20 semicolon 20 years later, is the full title of this movie. It's
Yeah, a
I
little
mean, do
weird.
we need that? Do we need that? Do I do like does it need the subtitle thing? I don't know. I mean, we've all come to know it as Halloween H2O, or we just call it H2O. When it was coming out when we were kids, I was like, "Oh, water's going to be somehow in the mix." You know, like they're on a submarine or something. I don't know. I like obviously they just used that because it's kind of cutesy and it was 20 years later and it works. But I just feel like Halloween H2O 20 years later, not like when you think about it, that's sort of a weird way to name your movie.
Yeah, it is weird, but I mean, I guess I didn't really think too hard about it back then, and at this
Yeah.
point, it's just what we've called it,
Yeah.
H2O.
But I'm fine with it. I'm fine with Halloween H2O, just H2O. Halloween H20 20 years later, I feel like is weird.
You're right. It's weird. I'm not going to push back on that.
So then we kick off into sort of Laurie Strode's new life. And I'm going to talk about this movie, and I'm going to keep just calling her Laurie Strode because that's what I know her as.
Yeah.
To everyone else through most of this movie, she is Carrie Tate because
Miss Tate. Yeah.
yeah, Miss Tate, the headmistress Tate. They are playing with a little bit of an idea that I think is in 4 and 5 where she's been killed. Laurie Strode is dead, but like what this is saying is she faked her death,
Yeah.
and it's not obviously like they're saying like 4 and 5 never happened or there's no relation here, but in 4 and 5 they say that she's dead, so it's just kind of like if you wanted to go with the full story, you kind of could, but.
Well, the weird thing about that though is the Danielle Harris character is supposed to be her daughter in 4 and 5.
True.
So that part doesn't really make sense. But
That's right.
I don't remember what the explanation for how she died in 4 and 5 is, but I know in H2O in the opening credits you're getting this like montage of newspaper clippings, and I think it says she died or she faked her death in a car accident.
Right. So, yeah, but like I said, I mean, it's just forget 4 and 5. I'm gonna say don't forget 3. Like 3 does still happen,
Yeah.
even though in 3 Halloween is a movie that's playing on TV.
Yeah.
And Michael Myers isn't real. So, yeah. So we were introduced to her as Carrie Tate. She's got a whole new life. She's got a son who's I don't know 17 years old, and played by Josh Hartnett, who would be a heartthrob of the late 90s era. And it sort of seemed like it was coming to an end for him, and he wasn't really getting big parts anymore. And then it was nice to see him pop up in Oppenheimer. So I think he's still chugging along with a career, which is good to see because I do think Josh Hartnett is like pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I love Josh Hartnett.
And then we have Michelle Williams, who plays his girlfriend. Their character names are John Tate and Molly Cartwell, which is very forgettable. It's hard to remember people's names in this movie because you're just not a lot of mentioning people by name.
Yeah.
All of the students at this Hillcrest boarding school are supposed to be going on a trip to Yosemite. Laurie is not letting John go, and it's a couple reasons. One, she's just super overprotective of him because of her whole past. 2, this is happening like right around Halloween, which is like very sensitive time of the year for her, Keith.
Yeah, she's got some PTSD, like you mentioned, some similar themes and ideas to the Joseph Gordon-Green? Is that the director of 2018?
David Gordon Green.
David Gordon-Green, sorry,
Yeah.
yeah, David Gordon-Green.
And even more so, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is really about the PTSD stuff, and like it's really in that one. It's really like kind of both girls that survived the first movie dealing with the trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Are
you a Rob Zombie Halloween 2 guy or no?
I am now. Yeah.
I haven't jumped on that train yet.
Okay.
I rewatched it a couple years ago, or it might have been last year. I don't remember. Yeah. But I still can't get on. I don't know. I just can't get on board with that. I know it's coming back around, and people are saying they really like it, and I just can't. I don't know. Can't get there with it.
It took me a long time too, but I like it now. I do like it now. So it is also in my top 5 Halloween movies. So
okay.
Yeah, I am one of those people. But I was also one of those people like Halloween 3 who hated it. I mean, and was just like, this is not for me. I don't get this at all. But I have come around to it. I actually was listening to mine and Zach's episode on Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 episode earlier just to get in the mood a little bit and refresh myself. You get mentioned in that episode because I was talking about when you saw Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 in the theater and how like you were like the only person I really knew that knew the theatrical cut of that one because then they were only ever putting out the director's cut version.
Yeah, I can show you something real quick. One second.
Yeah, please. Because For those of you that don't know, there's like some serious differences in Rob Zombie's directorial cuts versus his theatrical cuts of both of those movies.
Yeah, so I found this at my used store. This is a double pack,
Yeah, yeah,
and this actually has the theatrical version of both movies, even though it's not advertised for the first one.
yeah,
But we've had this discussion before. The main reason why I like or why I prefer the theatrical version of his first movie is the opening is like a completely different scene.
yeah,
Like in the director's cut, it's way more violent. You get the grape scene.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That grape scene is not in the theatrical version at all.
Right.
And you also get Bill Moseley is in the
I remember
theatrical
you said like
version.
some of like the Devil's Rejects people or whatever were in it.
Yeah, he plays like one of the guards that gets killed by Michael Myers. There's this whole escape sequence that's cut out of the director's. Like they replaced this
Yeah.
escape sequence with this grape scene. I mean, there's still an escape sequence, obviously, but it's way different, and I like the theatrical version much more. Aside from
Yeah.
that, I don't really remember what too many of
Well,
the other differences are, but
I'm
that
having
alone, yeah,
I'm having flashbacks to us having this conversation 15 years ago
yeah,
when you first told me about this. But that's why I was talking about you was because of that, because you talking to me about Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and those differences in that conversation. But Halloween 2, it's the director's cut is the better one.
yeah. I'm gonna have to watch that one again, maybe tonight. I don't
I
know.
still think it takes there is like a reframing of like I like what you are taking out of the experience. I feel like
Is
it,
the argument that it's good similar to the argument for Halloween 3 being good, where it's like it's just weird and different and you appreciate the big swing being taken?
a little bit. There's a little bit. Although Halloween 3, I just like it's like just campy fun, you know.
Yeah.
So I like that about Halloween 3. I just find Halloween 3 to be hilarious because it's just about this alcoholic doctor who gets caught up in this.
And he's just really horny.
And that's
And
like
he's going to cheat on his wife.
that's all that moves the story forward.
Yeah.
In Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, it's like a lot about the PTSD stuff with Lori, and even you said her name, Danielle Harris, who is older and plays a different character
Mhm.
in those movies, but like
Yeah.
the way that they're both processing the trauma that happened to them in the first movie and the differences. And the Michael Myers stuff kind of sucks because he's just like relentlessly stabbing people. But
And like eating dead animals and stuff, right?
yeah. But it also looks really good. The cinematography is like pretty strong in that one. And
Yeah.
I don't know, if you watch it, there's like a little bit more with maybe a little bit more artistic eye. I feel like there's like more going on there. And like an early entry in the elevated horror stuff, like before that stuff really took off. I feel like it fits into that genre.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like because I actually don't I'm not a hater of the original Rob Zombie Halloween, so
Yeah,
I think
same.
because it feels so different, maybe that's why I wasn't a
It
fan
is
of it.
weird. Yeah. And I'll tell you one of the hardest things for me to adjust to is like Loomis is a complete douche, which is like
Oh yeah.
so that's that
Malcolm McDowell, right?
yeah, but like I feel like he's more lovable in the first Rob Zombie one, but in that second Rob Zombie one, he's just a complete money
Yeah,
grubbing
he's like
dude.
trying to sell his book that he wrote about it, and it
Yeah,
makes him out to be like an asshole. That was one part that I didn't really like about it. And
agreed.
the dream sequences are really weird, like with Rob Zombie's wife as the mom, Sherry
Yeah,
Moon Zombie, and
yeah.
like wearing the white dress and like the white horse or something that keeps popping up is just like confusing. I don't know.
It is confusing. Well, yeah, and I'm not saying I even fully understand it, but I do like it and appreciate it more now.
Okay, I'll keep trying with it.
Yeah,
I don't want to
like I
poo-poo
said,
on
it took me a
anybody's.
while. And look, if you never get there, I'm totally respectful. Like because it is weird, but
Yeah.
I've grown to like it. I mean, and there's also just a lot of rough entries in the series. I was okay with the first David Gordon Green one, but I did
Mhm.
not like 2 or 3 of his at all.
There's parts of 2 and 3 that I liked. We're way off track now. We're just talking about all the other Halloween movies, but I'm
That's
fine with
okay.
that. This is a fun conversation.
Yeah, yeah,
But like I like Halloween Kills for the aspect of like all the townspeople rising up, which is
yeah,
part of the reason why I like 4 a lot
yeah,
too. I
yeah,
just
yeah.
rewatched 4, and I don't know why. I just like that idea of the town drunks being like, "Let's go get him." I don't know.
Yeah, well, the dudes in 4 are great because they really
Yeah,
are just like, I mean, they just seem like guys that you would see. They look like people that would know Dustin at a bar in Penyan,
yeah.
like in the like as if that group of guys was like,
Uh-huh.
we're gonna go kill Michael Myers.
You know what I think it is? I think it's like in the original, it's like people don't really like the police and stuff don't really believe that he's like this thing that can't be stopped, and like, or maybe
Right.
they don't even believe what's happening, or they're just trying to figure out what's happening.
Yeah.
But in 4 and Halloween Kills, it's like everybody, it's like this idea that they all believe in him. They're like, "Oh, we
Mhm.
know this guy is really here." I don't know, something about that is cool to me.
Yeah. No. Totally agree. So, getting us back on track after that slight departure with the history of the Halloween franchise, there's a rest area scene, which I feel like there's been rest area scenes in a few of these. And there is a lot of the times a scene where Michael Myers has to like change vehicles or find clothes or something. And here, which is kind of funny, he had like a flat tire with the other car that he took. So he's just like at this rest stop, and a mom and daughter show up in literally the oldest, shittiest car that you've ever seen.
It looks like the car that the dude in Jeepers Creepers drives.
You know what I was gonna say? It looked like, Keith. How about this one for you? The car in Ninja Turtles 1 that Donatello and Casey Jones are working on when they're exchanging like hose brain.
You're right. Yeah, it does look like that one.
It's like from the 1930s or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but in a weird moment also a tense scene in the restroom, but in a random moment, Michael doesn't actually kill these two and leaves them.
Yeah, I was watching this with my wife, Chris, and she was like, "Why did he not kill them in there?" I was like, "Well, there was a little girl there. Maybe they just didn't want to do that. Like maybe that'd be
I know,
too
but they could
dark
have
for."
they could have done this any way that they wanted. They didn't have to put a little girl in the scene, and it just
That's
seems
true.
weird. It just
Yeah.
seems weird that he's not killing everyone that's in his path at all.
Yeah.
Now they're not impeding him, but he
Hmm.
does have to like reach underneath the stall and steal that woman's purse. So it is, I
Yeah.
don't know. It is like he wouldn't have had to go that far out of his way to kill them.
Yeah, I think this is one of the major criticisms of this movie that people that don't like this movie will bring up is like this scene and the fact that he drives all the way from Illinois to California is like it's a little stupid.
It is one
But
of my favorite things out of like of the series in general. But although, by the way, throwback to the very first movie, Michael
he
Myers
drives in the
driving.
first movie.
Yeah.
He does. He drives that shaggin' wagon or whatever. And somebody, okay, I'm not gonna say their name, but somebody made a video of talking about all these overrated horror movies recently,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't think he watches this anyways. So, anyways, he was saying this and a whole bunch of other stuff. This was one of the movies on his list.
This is
No,
overrated. I would have said this is under. How is this overrated? I think it's like a 2.5 on Letterboxd.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we maybe overrate it, but I don't
Yeah, that's
think
true.
I don't think the movie community overall overrates
Yeah, I
this
think it was
movie.
like. I mean, I think it was like a 55, 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, which isn't bad. I mean, that's
Yeah,
to me is still like positive. I don't mean it might not be certified fresh. I don't know, but like,
I'm trying
yeah. I mean,
on IMDb. It's 5.8 out of 10.
it's 2.8 on Letterboxd. So I mean,
Yeah,
to me,
not
to me,
overrated.
yeah, to me that's a tough call to say that that's overrated. I mean, I think
Yeah,
I gave it a 4 and you gave it 4.5. It's like, you know what, we should both just make it 5.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I don't. That doesn't make me hate the movie. In fact, I'm happy that he doesn't kill these two. Like I don't
yeah.
want him to, but it just
Uh-huh.
does. It does strike me as surprising. If I was keeping score, I'd be like, huh. I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like there's two missing from the body count here that I can't make sense of. But
I will say one thing, and I think this is the first time you see it too. Where I was going, I think, was one of the complaints that this person made was, and I think this gets brought up a lot actually, is the fact that you see Michael's eyes and his mask looks a little weird. And I think you see his eyes here, like in the bathroom at some point or something.
Yeah,
But
probably.
that does, I'll give you that. That does kind of bother me a little bit.
Okay.
But it's not, yeah, it's not ruining the movie for me.
I think he looks pretty scary in the bathroom scene. Like when she just sees him like in the mirror.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of I think that's kind of a scary shot.
Yeah. I feel like his hair is like, or the hair on the mask is like a little crazier in this one than some of the other movies.
It is a little crazy. It's a little crazy. Um, so he just takes the car and now he's en route to Hillcrest because one of the things that we didn't really get into is he found Lori's file, which I guess Loomis knew all of this stuff. I guess that's what's implied. Loomis knew that she wasn't really dead.
Yeah, I think that's the that's okay. That's another thing I could give to people who don't like this is that it's a little far fetched that he'd be like, Can you imagine Michael Myers rummaging through these files to find out where she lives or where she moved, like where she's in hiding? You know?
Yeah. And like, what has he been up to for 20 years?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they say that two happened. So he did
Yeah.
burn in the fire, but the body disappeared, is what they
Right.
say.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was a long recovery period. He had to get a lot of skin grafts.
Yeah.
So we're back at Hillcrest, more academy stuff in beautiful Summer Glen, California. And like you said, this school is like cool. And I was trying to like, I mean, I can't really imagine me at this age being able to live like this, like on campus. And when I look at it from the lens of the movie, I'm like, this life is cool. Even like the teachers, I'm like, I don't
Mhm.
know, this would be kind of cool. I mean, even oh hell, what was the movie? The Holdovers. Like I like over like Christmas time last year. I'm like, this is just kind of a cool life. Or Harry Potter, you know what I mean? Like we
Yeah.
could live in
If
those
you're like,
dorms.
yeah, like a high school kid in living in a dorm sounds awesome.
Now, I feel like when I was actually that age, though, I probably couldn't handle it.
Yeah, probably would have gotten into trouble or something.
Yeah, I don't think I would have had the right amount of structure in my life that I needed. And but I do think it's cool. I mean, in this whole, even when they're walking around the campus of this and everything, I think it's pretty sweet. So we find out that Lori is in sort of a secret relationship with Will Brennan, who's like the guidance counselor at the school, and he's played by Adam Arkin. Um, I guess why it's a secret. They sort of play it up like they don't really want any of their coworkers to know. But is it really just because she doesn't want her son to know that she's dating someone? I mean, why does it matter? Maybe they're not supposed to have inner relationships amongst the staff. I think Lori does make a headmistress. Lori makes a comment about that at some point.
Yeah, maybe she's like above him or something.
Yeah,
But
that's
that's
probably
like
true.
that's just one of those things though, you know, like you don't want the
Yeah,
kids talking about it. Like
that's true. You're
there
right.
were rumors where we went to high school of
Well,
teachers getting
yeah,
together
rumors
and
and
stuff.
yeah, I mean, it seems like there was where there was smoke, there was fire in some instances. But yeah, I do think she is the headmistress, which you forget because she's also a teacher.
Mhm.
So I feel like it's easy to forget that she's basically like in charge of the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so you're right. I do feel like that's probably why. So it's a secret. These two are real hot for each other. Making out all over the place, all over school. And we
Uh-huh.
also see a character named Norma Watson, who's played by Janet Leigh, Jamie Lee Curtis's real life mom.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
actually don't know that.
yeah, yeah. It's Janet Leigh, and it's actually they were also both in John Carpenter's The Fog together.
So Janet Leigh was in Psycho too, right? I
Yep.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
And
getting her mixed up for some reason when we were watching it. Me and Chris were like, "Is that Mrs. Voorhees? That's not who it is." We're like, her face is very recognizable from another horror movie and can't think of it. But
well,
yeah, it's Psycho. Yeah.
which by the way, speaking of like the Kevin Williamson of it all, with Scream and all that, I mean, he was like the king of just loading these movies with like so many other like references to other horror movies.
Yeah.
So then we meet Keith personal favorite, LL Cool J playing Ronnie Jones, who's the security guard of the campus, but also weirdly moonlights as an erotic fiction writer.
This is what I'm talking about. I love these characters, dude.
I
Like
know.
his introduction is so great. He's on the phone reading a passage from the book he's writing to his wife or girlfriend or whoever.
By
And
the
in
way,
one
it
of his
seems
lines he's talking about he's like describing the woman. He's like her big round melon
yeah,
breasts or
I
something.
would say his girl not into it.
Yeah.
Although
But
she
when I
does
was a
get
kid
into it
watching
later.
this, I loved that part.
So he lets John and his friend go into town. I think maybe probably the meanest thing that I've ever done on this show is write notes. And like in my history of writing notes on this show, I just decided that there were two characters who were I was not going to write down their character names or their actor names, and it's the other two high school friends. I because they're just like forgettable. I mean,
Yeah.
let's just say this: there's no mystery over who's dying and who's not dying.
Yeah, they're the two horny friends. That's all you need to know.
So John and his friend go into town. Also in town, Lori. Like, what are the chances that
Mhm.
they're sneaking off campus at the same time as the mom is trying to go to lunch with her boyfriend? And here's Keith, where we get a real peek at Lori's alcohol troubles when she meets the counselor for lunch and accosts a server over getting a second glass of Chardonnay post haste.
He kind of he kind of gives her the stink eye a little bit, and because she hasn't finished her first glass, right?
It's like full. She has a full glass
Yeah.
of Chardonnay. She's like, "Can I get another Chardonnay, please?" She's like today.
Well, I think she doesn't want her boyfriend seeing the fact that she's
That's
pounding
right. Yeah,
pounding glasses of wine on
yeah,
her lunch
and
break.
it's a little more. It's certainly not handled in a way that they'd handle it in an elevated horror movie today, but it is a similar idea, which is just like this is someone who had something who experienced like one or I guess two horrible experiences in a short period of time that really impacted their whole life, and while she's able to have a life, she's scared all the time. She has to drink all the time just to try to like be normal, and that's what we're
Mhm.
seeing here.
Yeah. And also too, I can't remember if it's before they go into the diner or when they're leaving, but she sees an image of Michael in the glass, right? And it's
Yeah,
kind of like a setup because she sees him, I think she sees him more than once, and then when he actually shows up later, she like shuts her eyes and like she's not believing that she's seeing it because she's been having these visions of him.
that's right.
So,
Yeah,
I don't know,
that's
just
one.
cool
No,
little setup.
that's one of the things that she does, and yeah, you're right. We've seen it a couple times at this point where she thinks she sees Michael, and she closes her eyes to make it go away,
Mhm.
um, which is a technique that I've tried many times in my life to make my troubles go away. And I gotta tell you, open my eyes, and there they be. She's dancing around her whole backstory because she is, like we said, using a fake name, even to her boyfriend. And it seems like she's getting closer to wanting to reveal something to him, but he's kind of prying at it too, and she's just not ready to go there yet. Uh, we cut back outside the restaurant, and John is going on about his mom is a functioning alcoholic just before they run into her in the streets.
Yeah, and the friend who shall not be named or name shall not be remembered is hiding a bottle under his jacket.
Yeah, very nonchalant.
Very super bad esque moment.
Yeah, it was bringing me back to like just drinking like the grossest vodka when we were like teenagers, like
Yeah.
Fleischmann's, just horrible. She flips out on John. She's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Uh, and then this is when you really get one of the sole references to the original Halloween 2 when she's like when John is kind of fighting back at her because she's getting mad, and he's like, "You told me yourself you watched him burn," and then
Yeah.
he's basically like, "It's been over 20 years, Mom. Get over it." Basically the idea, but she takes the two boys back to school, and we see the shitty car in town. The shitty car parked across the street. And
Mhm.
Not really sure Michael's whole angle here. I guess he figured he'd show up in town and wait, and then it's just his lucky day. And they all happen to be in town, and he follows him back to the school. I guess he knew that he was going to Hillcrest either way, but
Mm-hmm.
lucky break for Michael here that everybody's in town and he's going to follow him back. So the kids not going to Yosemite, our little cluster of four here, are going to have their own little Halloween party. That's what they've decided. But back in class, Molly, played by Michelle Williams, sees Michael lurking outside the grounds. And this, I mean, that's a little bit of a, I feel like a nod to the first one when like you're in school and you look out the window, right?
Yeah, I think that definitely happens in the first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is creepy, I think. Like, to me, like in any movie, that's always effective.
Yeah.
You're just like sitting in class and you look out the window
Mm-hmm.
and see whatever killer, whatever,
Yeah.
any like scary force out there. I always find that to be an effective tactic.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of it happens in It Follows, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that part's really cool.
Just the walking towards.
Mm-hmm.
So Lori tells John she's decided to let him go to Yosemite, briefly ruining his plans because it's like, well, now we've got it. Now we've got this whole thing worked out. We got a bottle of booze. We've got 1,000,000 candles, and we're gonna have.
Me and Chris were laughing about the candles too. We're like, where did they get all these candles from? There's like 100 candles.
I know, and just the like investment time in going around to light them all, and like the fire hazard.
Yeah.
It just seems like, I mean, it's an old wooden like constructed school. I mean, it feels like they could have burnt this place to the ground.
Yeah.
But he's like, all right, well, I'm not gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna stay and we're gonna have our party. But she thinks that he's now gonna go to Yosemite, and it's just gonna be her and her guy left on campus. And she bumps into her mom in the courtyard, and we have another reference to the first movie. And when I say her mom, she bumps into the Norma character played by Jana Lee, and she recites a line from the first one. It's Halloween. I guess everyone is entitled to one good scare.
Mm-hmm.
You love to see it.
Yeah.
And as they depart at the end of that scene, where they have like a little interaction, it's kind of cute. And then Janet Leigh heads for her car, and briefly, I didn't notice this until the second time I was watching it. Briefly, the Psycho score is playing.
Okay, I didn't catch that either.
Not the like, wah, 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 but like, dun, 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 like the
Okay.
more subtle part of it was playing. And I was
Okay.
like, oh, that's kind of cool. All of the buses depart for Yosemite, and we're kind of left with setting the stage for what the rest of the movie is going to be. By the way, one thing that I have to say that I absolutely love about this movie, it's like an hour and 26 minutes, and it's like an hour and 8 minutes of setup, and then 18 minutes of Michael Myers actually attacking them.
I I feel like that's something people could probably complain about, but I love it. I don't know.
I love it too. Like, that is one of the things that I think is like, if you ask me like what are the positives about this movie, I'd be like, that. I love that it's like so much setup.
Yeah. Well, it's yeah, like I keep saying it, but I like the characters. Like
Yeah,
I love Cool J. I want him to survive.
same. Yes, and I actually remember that in my early viewings of this, like actually seeing it in the late '90s, and like that was I'm with you. The idea of like rooting for LL Cool J
Yeah.
was a big part of the movie, like, and everything that happens with him, and then what like how he's back in the mix at the end. It was like definitely like a celebratory moment.
Yeah, when you see him pop back up and you're like, "Oh, he didn't actually die."
Yeah, yeah. One of the great, survivals in horror movies.
Hmm.
So the shitty car approaches the gate. Speaking of LL Cool J, he's like, and by the way, I think this part is pretty cool too. Like, just the car pulls up to the gate. It's quiet. No
Hmm.
one's around campus. It is creepy. You can kind of get in the mode of this security guard who's there by himself, who, would never really have anything interesting or
Oh,
scary
yeah.
happen
I
to you.
mean, he's spending his days working on his romance novel, his sleazy romance novel.
Yeah, who is
I will
Nate?
say that this part is a little bit goofy though, because you see Michael walk directly behind him, and
Yeah,
then you see him like stalking him. I think this is right at this point where you
it
see him
is.
kind of he pops around the corner like in the window behind him a few times, and you're like,
Yeah.
eh. So why didn't he kill him there? Yeah,
Yeah, no, I totally agree that it is like if he's going to do that, you would think he would just kill him.
yeah,
That is weird. But I will say it is the whole like someone's behind you when you don't know. I mean, that is scary.
yeah. It
It,
builds some
it's
tension.
it's a scary thing to take in. I think it works. But yeah, I do think that he probably should have that scene probably should have ended with Michael killing him.
Yeah, but I'm
And
glad he didn't. He's my
me
favorite
too.
character.
Yeah, 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 which has been established. But yeah, I'm with you that I'm glad it doesn't happen, but it seems like it makes sense for the movie that he would have.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially because this is a guy with a gun who could get involved.
Hmm.
So it seems weird that he would leave him alive. But I'm with you. I don't care. LL Cool J is cool. He's got to stay in the movie. So Michael has successfully snuck into Hillcrest. Lori does see Michael again, this time closing her eyes multiple times, but he's still there. The question, Keith, does she really see him this time? I think yes, right? I mean, this is really him walking towards her this time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing. It's like
yeah,
all those other times you saw him, that was just setting up for this one scare moment right
that's
here.
right. Yep. And I guess it's not really a question, but I felt like I should kick that to you conversationally. And Will startles her, though, which breaks it up, and the two decide that they're going to have a romantic evening, but he has to go check on the kids first. Now, I actually think for something that's very quick and throwaway, I think that this next quick part is good where Will sees him, and he's just like, hello? And then, like, the guy just disappears, and he just lets it go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. A weird choice to make here, I guess.
Well,
But
I'm thinking it's just supposed to be that he thought he was seeing things. Because
I guess you could read it that way.
because why would there be anyone on campus?
Yeah.
It's got a secure gate. It's got a security guard who's, never lets anything go by. So like why would there be someone random there? Or is it one of the students that is still on campus just walking around? I don't know, but I think it's a cool choice to have Will see him and have an interaction, but then there is no follow up to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
There's a quick cut to Scream 2 on TV with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Hmm.
And this is like, okay, this is the more of the Kevin Williamson of it all. Will pops in to just check on the girls who are like, hey, we're just having a night in our dorm or whatever. And then he's out of their hair, and then they're off to party with the dudes. So after that quick check-in, our foursome is back together. Meanwhile, back at her place, Lori pounding vodka. And 2 shots of vodka. Glug, 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 glug. um, one of the things that I thought was weird about where the kids are partying and where they were kind of prepping, the whole kitchen setup. Do you know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
kitchen, like I don't understand the practicality of it. It seems like it's supposed to be the kitchen for the school, but I
It's
mean,
tiny.
it's like the size of this room that I'm in right now.
Yeah. And there's the whole I do like all the stuff that they do with the little elevator thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's pretty sweet too.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would be fit for serving hundreds of students or however.
Yeah. But yes, agree. It basically, we've seen it a couple times just to introduce this little food elevator thing where they'll put food on this little elevator. I don't know. I guess you call it an elevator still. This
Yeah.
wooden box that goes down a rope down to the lower levels. And it seems like the practical use for it is they're making food up in the kitchen and then it goes down to be served to people. But I'm not really sure how practical that is because, yeah, if it is for hundreds of people, it's not that big.
Yeah.
So
But what I will say, we thought it was funny rewatching it this time how much food they make for the four of them.
definitely, yeah,
It's
that's
like
like
a massive Thanksgiving feast.
yeah, that's like a late night me, you, Lindsay, Chris, like just after a wedding. That's like the type of meal we'd be having.
Yeah.
Um, oh, where were we? So the kids are, starting to have a time. Lori's also having a time. Everyone's just getting wild on vodka, and Will shows back up to her. They're getting hot and heavy again, and she reveals that she's Laurie Strode. And Will does know the stories. He knows the Michael Myers history, and he's like, "You're that girl?
Yeah.
That's you?"
He has a pretty funny line. I can't remember exactly what she says to him, but then he says, "That's sucky."
I mean, I feel like that Adam Arkin dude is kind of a good actor that it was like not in enough stuff.
Yeah. He always reminds me of George Clooney for some reason. He
Yeah,
kind
he's like a poor
of,
man's George Clooney.
yeah.
You know, that's just not in movies,
Yeah.
but like could be. And yeah, I mean, talk about a mood killer, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Yeah, it ruins the fun time that they were about to have.
Yeah. So, but she's just deciding, oh, I got to call John, who I think is in Yosemite, and she goes to check the phones, and they're dead. And it,
Hmm.
it starts with one. She's like, well, that can't. How can that be? Checks the second one. Okay, she knows there's a problem, and this is starting to build towards really cool Laurie Strode. Like
Hmm.
when they did the David Gordon Green first Halloween movie, and Jamie Lee Curtis comes back again and reprises the role, and it's like when you're seeing the trailers for it, you're like, oh wow, she's basically like Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2, where she's like been training her whole life for Michael to come back so she can fight him. It's not quite like that, but it's
Hmm.
sort of in the same camp as that.
Yeah, I mean, when she goes to grab her little snub nose 6-shooter, it's under her pillow.
Yeah, I
She's
know.
sleeping with the gun under her pillow.
I know. So she gets the revolver that Keith mentioned because she's starting to panic. We cut back to the kids. So I did write it down here. Charlie and Sarah are the other two, and they're killed, not shockingly. To no
Yeah.
one's surprise, these two are the characters that are killed. I mean, Charlie immediately.
Yeah.
Not much with Charlie. Sarah actually has one of the coolest death sequences, I feel like, out of the whole franchise. Maybe one of the most memorable chase type kills in any horror movie ever for me. I mean, I'm not blowing smoke. I think this is a pretty cool way they do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, her leg gets like smashed in that elevator thing we were talking about, and
Yeah.
it's kind of similar to there's like an elevator sequence in I Know What You Did Last Summer that's kind of similar in a way,
True, true.
where like
Reusing.
she's up and then he's down and then she's down and then they're going back and forth.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But it is cool. I think it's well
Hmm.
executed.
Yeah.
But it is messed up what happens to her leg. And then he just once he gets upstairs after her leg gets messed up, I mean, it's over pretty quickly, but to her credit, Sarah outlived Charlie by several minutes.
Hmm.
But pretty fun, pretty creative scene. Somehow John and Molly escape from this, and I actually kind of like that moment when they're just out in the courtyard in the dark by themselves trying to like get their bearings, and then he shows
Hmm.
back up. I,
Hmm.
there's there's something that does ring true to me in a way about everything that's happening now that Michael's on campus and chasing them. Like the timing and pacing of it all like feels, I don't want to say real because it doesn't feel real, but I don't know, it doesn't feel rushed. It feels like they're really making their way across campus, and he's kind of slowly chasing them around but keeping them within range. It just feels like it has the right pacing.
No, I totally agree. Yeah. And it works perfectly, like you said, because of how much buildup there is and how much you're
Yeah.
getting to just like know the characters in the first hour or whatever. And then as the pace picks up towards the end, it just makes sense. I don't, yeah.
So they try their hand at hand to hand combat with Michael. uh John punches him and Molly hits him with like a rock in the head,
Uh-huh.
and they're able to run and keep some distance between them. They get to a point where they're going to go inside, one of the I don't know where they are in terms of the campus, but they get behind this gate and lock it, and of course drop the keys. Just so stupid. Although if we did watch him try to like go through those keys for like an hour and a half, like that's a movie I want to watch.
You say that, but this is one of my favorite scenes. It's pretty tense. Like he's
I agree.
swinging the knife through, he's reaching his arm in, and they're like they can't get through the second door, and then Lori
Yeah.
shows up, and it's a really cool moment where they're like looking at each other through the circle thing, right? That happens right here, right? Yeah.
That is like maybe I mean, in my opinion, maybe one of the coolest shots in any Halloween movie ever. How
Hmm.
they just get behind the door, it shuts, Laurie's face is in the like window of the door looking out, and then his face, and they're like eye to eye with each other. I think that part is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. It's like the perfect trailer shot. I'm pretty sure that shot is in the trailer.
100%. It was memorable from the trailer though, and you want to know what?
Yeah.
It's memorable from the experience too.
Yeah. It's a sweet scene. Yeah.
So they kind of barricade the kids inside, and they're waiting for Michael to break his way in, and they think he's coming around the corner. Will is like, "I'm gonna have my heroic moment, stand up for my lady." Takes the gun, fires several shots, and they realize that it's Ronnie, the romance novelist slash security guard, and just a huge miss by Will. Like what?
Sad, angry
Yeah,
moment
what a mess up.
for
And
me.
a pool of blood around Ronnie's head, so it's looking pretty grim. And I mean, Will's shame just at an all-time high. But guess what? Not for long, because Michael shows up and kills him. It's actually like one of the coolest deaths, because he's like lifted off the ground by
Hmm.
the knife and just body like completely convulsing. Like it looks pretty sweet.
Hmm.
So we'll know more. Lori single again. But Lori is able to like grab the kids, and they make a run for a car, and after another close encounter, they're able to get the car moving and head to the gate. But then I think this is one of the best turns in I keep saying like of the franchise, but whatever. I mean, I think this is like a great moment too, where she lets the kids leave and is like, you know what, to the death with Michael. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go take this motherfucker on. Like, it's time for us to go toe to toe for real. Locks the gate, grabs an axe, and I'm like loving it. I love an axe wielding Laurie Strode.
Yeah. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but the way she carries the axe up the
Yeah,
hill, there's like a really cool crane shot of her
yeah,
walking up the hill holding the axe like out at her side, and it just looks so badass. It is a really cool moment.
I love it. So now they're sort of in this weird game of hunting each other throughout the school. Like,
Hmm.
she starts by going after him, but then he's like searching for her again, and there's the whole thing of hiding under the table, and they're kind of making their way through the corridors of the school, and Lori eventually gets the upper hand and stabs Michael several times and shoves him off the balcony through a table.
Hmm.
You're like, okay. And I guess it's a little reminiscent of the end of Halloween 1, right? Because he's like, they're in the balcony on the second floor of the house, and he goes flying off of it and
Yeah.
lands on the ground. And that's the thing. She's like, I got to confirm the kill, because he wasn't dead at the end of she was like, he wasn't dead at the end of Halloween 1.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I got to go down and confirm the kill. And she's like about to stab again, and an arm comes in and stops her, and it's Ronnie, not dead.
Hmm.
As we find out, the bullet only grazed him.
Yeah. I do want to mention real quick, I just because I really like it, it's a short
Please.
sequence here, the where she's hiding under the table and he's like flipping the tables up,
Yeah,
and like that whole sequence I just think is really cool, and we
it
just
is.
skipped over it. So yeah,
It's well done.
yeah,
Um, so now we have what we think is a dead Michael. A bunch of paramedics and cops have shown up, and while they're like kind of just like, I don't know, ushering Lori away or throwing a blanket around her or whatever, she ends up pulling one of the cops' guns and is like, "All right, I'm stealing this ambulance," and kind of a crazy move here by Lori.
yeah,
I mean, I know she wants to make sure that he's dead, but isn't there more? I don't know. I feel like this is really a life ruining moment for her.
yeah, yeah. I don't know what her plan was. I don't think she really had a plan. I think she's just like, I don't trust these coroners to not, or whatever.
Yeah. She's like she knew he was going to wake up in that body bag and
Hmm.
kill whoever was in the ambulance, and she was right because the body bag that you see the zipper come out, sits up, starts coming towards the front of the ambulance. She slams on the brakes, goes flying through the front window. There's the whole like pause, like get up, and he does, sits up, and then she crashes into him down an embankment, pinning his body against a tree or whatever. And she gets out, she goes down the hill, or no, she's down the hill too, but like she gets
She
out.
gets thrown out of the van and she's like halfway up the hill. She goes, grabs the axe, and comes
That's right.
down.
That's right. That's why I remember like descending. Yeah,
Hmm.
and he puts his hand out, and it's like, I don't know, they're maybe gonna have like a moment or something. I always thought this was weird.
Yeah, me too.
Like, and it is interesting because of what Halloween Resurrection does with this scene, which was apparently like always the plan.
It makes no sense to me. I love how this movie ends, but the explanation was not set up well in this.
Yeah,
Like, cause why if so basically the what Resurrection says is that the guy that she pins up against the thing, the guy that wakes up in the body bag is actually one of the security guards or something, or one of the police
paramedic.
officers, the
Yeah,
paramedic. That's who it is, right? And they say that his larynx or something was crushed, so he can't talk. But that
right.
doesn't explain why he would sit up after getting thrown out of a
Yeah,
thing, and why he would, if he's pinned up against the. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
because everyone just sits up like Michael Myers as if that's a natural motion.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know. And does seem to be like some controversy over it. Like, well, Jamie Lee Curtis supposedly, when she was going to be in the movie, said that she wanted this to be the end and she wanted Michael to be dead.
And it
And
seems like he is dead. She chops his
yeah,
head off, and it's awesome.
yeah, there's a brief moment where they almost hold hands or whatever, and then she quickly decapitates him.
And I
Credit.
don't know. It's one of my favorite endings to any of these movies too, just because it's like it's so badass how she does it. She chops his head off, and then the music hits like right there too.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
agree. Agree that it's good. But they basically had this plan, and that Kevin Williamson was involved with coming up with this ending where it was like, I think that to appease her, they were like, "Oh yeah, we are gonna have you kill him, and this will be the end." And then they like had this all built into it already. That like, well, no, actually, later we're gonna do this thing where he wasn't really dead because it wasn't him.
It makes no sense. And then she comes back. So I rewatched like the first half hour of Resurrection.
I,
Terrible movie.
I watched this part. I just watched the beginning of Resurrection where they
It's
like
so bad.
rescued him. Yeah.
She like kisses him on the mouth before he kills her. It's so bad.
Yeah, I've still never seen Resurrection all the way through, and I don't know if I ever will. I mean, I it's the worst one, and I say that not seeing it all the way through. I just know that it is. Like,
It's bad, dude.
yeah. So I don't know. I like to think of. I mean, who cares? Does it really end the series if she actually kills him in this one? Does that actually do anything? I mean, Jason was killed and comes back, so who cares?
Yeah.
I think
I mean, I
I'm
feel like
going.
the
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
whole getting your head cut off thing is like it seems pretty final.
Agree.
But
I mean, it's hard to come back from that, but I just mean like wouldn't they just keep rebooting this and stuff anyway? So who cares? Like
Yeah.
this,
I mean, there's what, like 4 or 5 different timelines you can watch this on, because
yeah,
the 2018 one is basically the same, except it doesn't even account for Halloween 2, right?
right,
2018 is a
true.
direct sequel to the original Halloween,
I
and they're
know.
not,
Yeah, there's
so they're
just
not supposed to be brother and sister.
so many rules to follow to try to figure this
Yeah.
out. And be like, oh well, yeah. So can't they all just be like, well, H2O doesn't count because it doesn't most of the time. So
Yeah.
who cares? But I just yeah, as a standalone movie with this ending being that she killed him, I think that's great.
Agreed. Yeah. It's awesome.
But then the fact that that's not the case, it sucks.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you could just be like, well, I like the Lord of the Rings movies and the Hobbit movies suck. So, like, does that really ruin that? Or same with Star Wars. You're like, I don't really like the prequels,
Agree.
or the new sequels, but you can always just go back and watch, if you have
No,
that
totally.
mindset where you can just be like, oh, well, I don't really care that this other one that I don't like exists. You can
I do
still
agree.
enjoy it for what it
I,
is.
I totally agree. This does not ruin like or what happens in Resurrection doesn't ruin this for me. Although I don't like that it was always the plan. I sort of wish that they retroactively came up with the plan to bring him back. But like the fact that they built this in knowing that it wasn't that's not supposed to be Michael annoys me.
It seems like it came up retroactively though, because it just doesn't make sense. Like, why does he get out of the when he gets out of the body bag? Why does he like attack her?
Well, look, I don't know well enough. Like, I'm not an expert on it, but it just seems like if you just looking at Wikipedia, it seems like it was the plan. Like because
Yeah,
they they didn't want Michael to be dead.
yeah.
So
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying it's a bad plan.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. But overall, if you want to if I fired off my Halloween top five, it would probably be Halloween the original, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which I absolutely love watching.
hmm
Um, and then it's probably between Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 and this is like the 3 and 4 slot, and then 5 is probably like this is kind of controversial. I feel like I do like the original Halloween 2 as well. I feel like that one's not really well liked, but I kind of like that one too.
I think that one's having a resurgence on the internet too, where people used to hate it because,
Yeah.
well, I think part of that is like John Carpenter himself has said some stuff like he doesn't like he didn't originally want to do it the way that they did
Correct.
it or
Yeah.
something like um he was kind of like forced into doing that, I
And
guess.
I
But
get and that is one that like when I watch it, I'm like I get why people don't really like this one, but I just feel like I don't know. It's closer to the essence of what Halloween is to me.
yeah, uh I don't know. I feel like some of the main complaints is it feels more like a Friday the 13th movie where it's just like gnarly kill after gnarly kill or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. But similar to what we said at the beginning of this movie, I like the hospital as a setting. The
Same.
hospital is like
Yeah.
really creepy. Um, I like Halloween too. My top five though, Halloween
Please.
the original.
Yep.
This is my number two. H2O is my number two.
Love it.
Number three is Halloween 4.
Oh
It
yeah.
feels very similar to the original, and I love the like how Halloweeny it feels. I don't know.
I agree. Halloween 4 is up there on my list too. That would have probably been like next.
Yeah. 4 is probably Halloween 3. Just because of how weird it is, I
Yeah.
like it for the same reasons you brought up.
Yep, yep.
And then I think 2018 Halloween is my number 5 actually.
Okay. Yeah.
It would be tough actually between that and Halloween 2 for
Yeah.
my number 5.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Very good. You good on H2O?
I'm good.
I feel like this was kind of your birthday present, us doing this too.
Sweet. Thanks.
Belated
I
birthday
appreciate
present.
it. Thank you. Okay, Matt. We got another Criterion Collection 50% off sale coming up at Barnes & Noble in a week or two here. So we decided with this episode we would give some spooky season recommendations, even though, November isn't really spooky movie time, but Criterion has some horror stuff. Not a lot, but anyways,
You know,
we got some recommendations.
It's more than you think, though. I guess like there's more stuff that can be argued into like the horror category in the overall collection than I think you would initially think. And I didn't really realize that until I was getting ready for this episode. I was just like looking at stuff and I'm like, there's more stuff that could be considered. I mean,
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs is a Criterion. I feel like I know it's more of a
Mhm.
psychological thriller, but I feel like that works.
Yeah, that could have easily have been a pick. I tried to not pick stuff that was like that level of like everybody has seen
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Silence of the Lambs, you know. We tried to pick I feel like we tried to pick stuff that might be a little bit underseen or under talked about. But
Yeah.
I will say though, I want to mention real quick though, the fact that just because we're saying, Criterion isn't really known for the horror stuff that much, but a holy grail item for me and like I know a bunch of other people. I don't collect Laserdisc, but did you know that they put out the original Halloween on Laserdisc, like
No, I
in the
didn't.
Criterion collection?
Uh, I did not know that. I mean, maybe I knew that at one point, but I don't feel like I knew that.
No. Just a fun fact. I don't think I knew that until somewhat recently either when I saw somebody talk about it in a video.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so Halloween technically is in the Criterion collection just on Laserdisc.
Immediately, I'm like getting on eBay to order the laser disc.
It's like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, worth it.
Well,
Okay.
anyways, you want to talk about your first pick?
Yeah, sure. So, my first one is a movie that at one point was a blind buy for me on Criterion, and it's a director who is very controversial, but has made many movies that I love. And, I think we've kind of talked about this before on the show where it's like, you get in whether it's the Weinsteins or Woody Allen or whoever, it's like just like they're not condoning any like nefarious or horrible behavior by these people, but I still appreciate art that they're involved in. This movie is a movie that really struck me and stuck with me the first time that I watched it, and I rewatched it to get ready for this. And I'm talking about Roman Polanski's Repulsion, starring Catherine Deneuve, who was like a really classic French actress in a bunch of great movies. I actually just rewatched someone that Tony Scott directed, and Susan Sarandon and David Bowie are in. The Hunger. I just rewatched that the other day too. But it was from 1965, very like French New Wave influenced or inspired, like, or at least like is partially like seems like French New Wave. It's like jazz music and they're out in the streets and everything. But then is slowly like turning into this like psychological movie of this woman being in this apartment by herself. It's actually part of what's considered a Roman Polanski trilogy with Rosemary's Baby and a movie called The Tenant, which I've never seen, but I think you talked about at one point. Is that
I
right?
bought it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, yeah. Um, so I haven't seen The Tenant yet, but it's so weird and like it reminds me of like your mind playing tricks on you. I don't know if you ever experienced this, like times where I can remember times where I was home alone and it just like felt like there was someone behind me or something. I thought I saw something behind me and like I like scared the shit out of myself. Like
Hmm.
that's what this movie reminds me of. And it's from a woman's perspective and she's becoming like increasingly more afraid of the outside world and there's this whole angle with like men specifically, but she's just sinking deeper into a psychosis as it goes through. There's some really cool stuff with practical effects inside the apartment. It's all black and white. um I think it's a really cool, really well done movie, and it's definitely one that would be a heavy recommend from me for the Criterion Collection.
Nice. I have that one too. I have watched it, but I only watched it once, and I don't really remember it that well. But I remember watching that and Carnival of Souls,
Oh
like right
yeah,
around the same time, and they kind of feel the same because they came out in the same era, I think.
gotcha. Yeah,
But,
I
yeah.
mean Carnival of Souls I think could also fit, right?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Okay, so that was my first pick. What's yours, Keith?
All right, so my first one, we didn't talk about this before, so I don't know if you've actually seen this or not, but Peeping Tom. This
I
is from 1960, directed by Michael Powell, who has a couple movies in the collection, but they're not like horror movies. At least the only other one I've seen, actually, I grabbed it just because I thought it was interesting. Because they're like pretty different kinds of movies. But The Red Shoes, he also directed. Have you seen The Red Shoes?
I haven't. I mean, obviously I've seen that like case sitting out all the
Hmm.
time at Barnes and Noble, but I've never watched that one.
Okay, I feel like both of these are actually like your kind of movie, though. So
Sweet.
I think you would like them.
I have Peeping Tom, but I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, so I watched. This was the first time I watched it, and the first thing that struck out at me is like it checks some major boxes that I feel like I bring up quite a bit.
Oh,
Where
good.
like first being, it's told from the perspective of the killer, and the killer is just like an interesting dude. He feels like a real person, kind of like he's a weirdo,
Oh, of
but
course.
he's kind of like sympathetic. Like even though he's going around killing people,
Sure.
it's like you kind of feel bad for him because you when you hear about like why he's doing this or like kind of what messed him up, like he has like kind of a traumatic childhood. um so that's one of the major boxes being checked, being from the perspective of the killer. Don't call me a freak weirdo, like I just think those things are interesting.
Totally.
um Another one, his job in the movie is he's like a focus puller and a cameraman for movies, so like there's that whole aspect. Like there's like a lot of the movie takes place like on movie sets or TV show sets. I think
Oh,
it's a movie
fun.
that they're filming.
Yeah.
But so he does that, and then he like moonlights as a photographer for kind of like lewd lingerie nudie photos.
Kind of sounds like
Um
a little bit of a body double.
a little, yeah, a
Mm,
little bit kind
a
of.
little bit. A
And
little bit. A
but
dash
like
of body
so
double.
yeah. So like the way he's killing people is like he's filming it as he's doing it.
Oh yeah.
I don't think this is really a spoiler to say like, well, I won't say exactly how he does it, but he films it, and that's like part of his whole like psychological thing going on, where he's filming himself killing these people, and then he's going back and rewatching it. But another really cool aspect of the movie though is he has like a love interest, like this girl that lives downstairs from him, his neighbor, is like really interested in him. She thinks he's like this quirky, interesting, good-looking guy. So he's like struggling with, I think he like wants to kill her at certain points or whatever. Certain things happen that trigger his like want and desire to kill,
Jeez.
and he's like fighting back those desires with this woman at times. And it's a really interesting movie. And you like movies from this era, like from the
Definitely.
'60s, so
Oh,
I think you would
absolutely.
be into it. If you're into, like, I don't really want to say it's like Hitchcockian, but if you're into like that era of
Yeah.
like thrillers, I think you'd probably be into it. I think you would definitely really like this.
And do you have the 4K? Because I think they did a 4K.
I just bought the Blu-ray version. It
Okay.
looks like.
Yeah, I think I picked up the 4K. So,
Yeah. I
um,
mean, after watching it, I kind of wish I would have got the 4K now, because that's another thing too, is it really is really a sight to see. Like the
okay,
cinematography is really good in it.
I love
Um,
it.
yeah, I know
Maybe I
that's
can.
one thing that the Red Shoes is really well known for, is like having really great cinematography. And
Is the red
um,
shoes? Is that like horror-y at all, or
no,
I
not
don't.
really. It gets kind of creepy and weird like towards the end, but it's
Huh.
not. No, this is about um like a really good actress, or I think she's like a dancer. Yeah, I think she's a dancer, and she's kind of being pulled in different directions. One by like this really famous guy who directs the plays, and then the guy that she's dating is like the piano player, I think. I only watched this one once, but from my memory, that's what's happening. And um, yeah, it's like a backstage play type thing.
Okay, interesting.
But
Well, I'm gonna have to
I
watch
think
that.
they're both your type of movie, though.
All right, very good. I got two recommendations in one
Yeah.
segment. Okay. You want me to move on?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Well, I guess I'm just like doubling down and sticking with the controversy because I also picked the second entry in Roman Polanski's apartment trilogy, Rosemary's Baby, his first American feature starring Mia Farrow, John Cassavetes, Ruth Gordon. Those three alone, the three performances are like incredible in my opinion. Cassavetes just such a slimy husband. Like I can't even like explain the performance. It's him, Ruth Gordon. They're both so strong. There's this paranoia element with what's going on with Mia Farrow that's really well done, which is also a little carryover from Repulsion, the whole paranoia of it all. It looks so good. I actually think this is another movie that takes place in New York City, but only some of the establishing shots are there and then filmed in LA. Like just like Ghostbusters. It's another one of those. But the New York of it all looks really cool. It's the 60s in Manhattan, so it kind of is like there's like a Mad Men vibe, you know. They're like at the
Hmm.
Time Life building at one point. And you know, the thing that just always terrified me the most as a kid was like any movies where it's like the devil is the villain because I was always like, look, if it's a killer, I mean, I can't really win in a battle of strength many times in life, but you feel like you have a chance.
Hmm.
I mean, with the devil, I was always like, well, what are you supposed to do?
You know, it's funny you say that because last night I didn't post this. I've been posting, keeping track of like all the movies I've been watching for 31 Days of Horror, or whatever you want
Yeah.
to call it. Last night, me and Chris watched what the hell? I know End of Days. That's what it's called.
Oh, yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger one where he's
Schwarzenegger?
fighting the
Yeah.
devil, and
Yeah.
I was kind of passing out towards the end of the movie, and it's like the same thing that you were just talking about. Like, how do you beat the devil? Like, it's
It's
just
just like unless you're gonna call Ed and Lorraine Warren, like
yeah.
I don't get how you're getting out of this one.
Well, in End of Days, have you seen End of Days?
Not in many, 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 many years.
Okay, it's not really a high recommend, but it's got some similar stuff going on to Rosemary's Baby, and the way that Schwarzenegger takes out the devil is like the most Schwarzenegger way you would think to take out the devil.
Just
I don't want to spoil it, but it's pretty ridiculous.
just
Basically,
punches.
the person who's possessed by the devil gets blown up. I'll say that.
It's like a bazooka.
Yeah, pretty much.
I love it.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, so that was my second pick, Rosemary's Baby. Back to you, Bob.
Okay, I do also have to mention that's one that I don't have and it's out of print, so that we can't really use that as a recommendation.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's one that's been out of print for a while.
oh,
As
that's a
far as
shame.
I know, unless they brought it back for 4K or something, but as far as I know, that's one that's like on eBay. Um, oh yeah, speaking of eBay too, while you started your talking about one of those movies, I looked up Halloween Criterion
Laserdisc,
Collection Laserdisc real quick. It's not
please.
as expensive as I thought. There's a lot of copies on here, and it's like you can find them for like as low as like 40, $50.
Okay.
Like nice copies are like 100 though.
All right. Well, thank you for doing that because I definitely like. I'm pretty sure that things would be pretty, you know, in a good place in my household if I showed up with a Halloween laser disc. Something that's definitely needed. So now
Yeah,
that I know I mean, look, you can't even get a cheeseburger for that much these days.
yeah. Rosemary's Baby,
Oh boy.
Blu-ray copies on Criterion. Like if you want a brand new one, it's like $100.
Mm.
Used are like 40 or 50 though,
Yeah,
so
I
it's
see.
not
I
that
see.
bad.
I see it's out of print on the website. I'm sorry about that, people. Well,
Oh,
I
that's okay.
I stand by it because it's just I mean, it's a great classic
Yeah.
horror movie. I mean, I don't know, and I have other people done releases of it. Just
There is a 4K. It's just like a studio 4K as far I think though.
okay.
That
Well,
one
if
came out somewhat recently, I think.
yeah, well then
But
you know what? Pick up the Studio 4K.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't when we were planning this, I didn't say specifically this has to be like about the sale. We were kind of just like these are spooky movies that are in the collection.
Just have it earmarked if it's ever available again, because to me, I think it's a must own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
let's move on.
Okay. So, my second pick kind of has similar themes to the first one or deals with similar ideas. David
Of
Cronenberg's
course.
Videodrome,
Yeah.
kind of like about voyeurism in a way and people being desensitized to violence and murder and stuff. Like, basically, if you don't know what the movie's about, it's about this dude, played by James Woods. What's the
Yeah.
character's name? Max Wren is the guy's name. He's like a TV executive or president or something, and he's looking for a new show to kind of like boost the ratings on his small TV channel. And he comes across this signal that's Videodrome, and it's this thing where this show that he sees where um, it's basically snuff films, like people being tortured and killed and stuff. Uh, and watching it, he gets like sucked in, and it starts kind of messing with his mind, and he starts hallucinating. Debbie Harry from Blondie is also in this. She's kind of like a freak weirdo. Like they're hooking up at times, and there's some pretty fun weirdo scenes, real
Definitely.
kinky stuff. She's like asking him to like pierce her ears and cut her and stuff. It's like weird kinky stuff like that's going on, and it gets into this weird like conspiracy theory type stuff is happening. And yeah, I don't know. This movie's weird but awesome. This is my favorite Cronenberg movie.
That's definitely a sell. Mine would be Crash, but
Yeah. Crash almost takes it to like too kinky of a level for me. I don't know why. The getting turned on by this makes no sense, but getting turned on by a car crash
it is
freaks me out
strange.
more than this
Yeah,
stuff.
that is strange. Yeah, I'd say so. No, I don't actually know what my favorite Cronenberg movie is. A lot of his movies are very weird and push things to an extreme level. Uh,
Mm,
Videodrome, no different. But I definitely agree that like I Videodrome is definitely a must own if you're a Criterion collector.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure if you're listening to this show, you probably have already seen Videodrome. You already know about it, so you don't need us to
I
like
mean,
explain to you why
yeah,
it's awesome. But
hold it up again just to show like the. Can you show like just the spine part of it?
oh yeah, it looks like a
Like
videotape.
yeah, yeah. Like I mean, I just feel like, and then show the other spine, like
It's got
just
like
with the colors and everything. Yeah, I
yeah, it's
mean
like
to me,
color bars.
yeah, you need if you don't have those color bars sitting on your shelf, then your Criterion collection is not complete right now.
Yeah. You know what's funny is actually the first time I ever saw this movie, I blind bought it from Preplayed, the DVD version of this. So this was one of the earliest like Criterion movies I ever bought before I was
Oh,
even
sweet.
collecting them. And
Yeah,
the reason I bought it was because the packaging looked so cool. It looked very similar to this Blu-ray version. And I was like, "Oh, that looks awesome. I'm just going to like watch that."
I love it.
And yeah.
Yes. Somehow it's like, yeah, somehow like the first time I ever saw a Videodrome, I'm like, yeah, Keith, this is definitely a Keith movie.
Yeah. Well, again, like I like one of those boxes that always gets checked. If it has something to do with like the movie industry, movie theater, TV, especially small TV station for some reason, just 'cause I worked in small TV for
Totally.
quite a few years, so that stuff's always like just an interesting setting for me.
No, I'm with you. Okay, you good for my last pick?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, to round things off for me, the body double of it all, actually, a different Brian De Palma film, and of course, I'm talking about Dressed to Kill, starring Michael Caine, Angie Dickinson, Nancy Allen, who was also in Blowout by Brian De Palma. Uh, has one of the coolest like sweeping camera sequences in a museum that I've ever seen. I mean, not that I've seen a lot of sweeping camera sequences in museums. Forget the museum part. Like, but one of the longest, like, cool tracking shots that follows a character in a sequence of events at a museum. That's one of the coolest things that I've ever seen in any movie. and this is what, like, Lindsay likes it a lot too. Like, this is one that her and I tend to watch, like, every year, every other year, and just so well executed. I mean, De Palma obviously, like, had some big hits with, well, Scarface wasn't a big hit, but it went on to have, like, an insane life. And then there's The Untouchables and other kind of stuff that had, like, some more either mainstream success at the time it came out, or, like, has become much more renowned. But, like, I think, like, Dress to Kill maybe his best movie. Um, I like it as much, and Blowout's up there for me too, but I really do think that Dress to Kill might be his best movie, and I very much recommend it as a spooky season watch. 1980, 105 minutes, Dress to Kill.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good one. I've actually only watched that movie once, and I need to just pick it up. Maybe I'll look for that one in the sale.
Yeah, I heavy recommend.
All right.
Okay, your last pick, Keith.
All right, last one. I don't know if I can really recommend this,
What a finish!
but it's not fun one to talk about.
I love it.
Maybe fun. It's just
Oh no!
this is
End
like
the
a
show.
legendary movie. Salo or 120 Days of Sodom. This comes up on like pretty much any list of like most fucked up movies ever.
Something I'm googling all the time.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that comes up in my algorithm from time to time.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know. It is definitely one of those, like, I mean, it's legend precedes it. We'll say that.
yeah. You haven't watched it yet though, right?
No.
I can't say that you or Lindsay would enjoy it. I don't think
I
you would.
yeah
I didn't really enjoy it either.
yeah. What's the
But
runtime on it?
116 minutes.
Okay, that's not bad.
It's
I mean,
not terrible.
I could live through that.
Um, for as like depraved and disgusting as this movie is, though, I feel like you can kind of see the message that Pasolini was going for with this. It's basically the message is simple. It's just fascism and evil people exist and they're bad. Um,
Well, sounds like a well thought out
yeah,
consent.
I mean, if for those who don't know, like quickly, the gist of the story is just these powerful people, rich, powerful people, abduct a group of teenagers and they take them to this big mansion and they've just abducted these kids and they're going to torture them and grape them for their own pleasure.
Yikes.
It's it's not like straight up just like torture porn though, and I will say it's not actually like visually because this came out in the 70s, 76. The effects and everything are not like what they are today, so it's not like you're watching a Terrifier movie or Hostel or something where it's really gross. Like the stuff you're seeing and the stuff they're talking about and the stuff you're hearing, and you are seeing this stuff, but it's not on like today's level of grotesqueness, I would say. Like it's clearly fake. Everything that's happening is clearly fake. Like there's part of the
Yeah.
movie, like one of the most infamous scenes in the movie is some of the kids are forced to eat poop,
Oh boy.
and
This is not
it's
for me.
it's clearly fake.
Yeah.
It's like there's some like physical torture too.
Hmm.
Um but it's like super fake. Like a kid gets his like eye popped out with a knife and it's
Oh
like
boy.
it just it looks like a rubber eye, you know?
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
It's
yeah. The
and if you
fakeness of
look
it
at
all.
it through sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, that. I guess I get where that can be defended, because that sort of makes things more palatable if it doesn't seem like real at all.
Yeah, like it all seems super duper fake and at risk of sounding like a sick weirdo, me and Chris, when we were watching this, we actually were laughing a little bit just
Okay.
because of how fake everything was. And at least a couple of the like bad guys in this are so ridiculously like evil and like in a goofy way. Like one of them, like his eyes are crossed at all times, and like
Okay. Wow.
it's like there's stuff that if you have a sick, weird, dark sense of humor, you can like laugh at it, and we kind of were a little bit. We're
All
like,
right.
this
Yeah.
guy is like insane. um,
This is not how I was picturing this, by the way.
no, yeah, it's not quite as dark, and there's other stuff in it that I feel like you might find funny if you have a dark sense of humor. Like a big part of like the torture, I guess you would say, that happens is these older women who used to be prostitutes, like part of this thing that they do to these kids is like they sit them in this room, and these old women are telling these really fucked up stories about things that happened to them or things that they did when they were younger prostitutes. And it like the stuff they're saying is like fucked up, but it's kind of funny because of like somebody's playing like weird, like fun piano music in the background while they're telling these stories, and it's just so insane and ridiculous
Wow.
that yeah, I mean, if you can find humor and stuff like that, yeah.
Okay. All right.
But
Now you've got me talked into like this is something I could watch. Whereas at one point I was like, I can never watch that movie.
yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of gross stuff, uncomfortable stuff, like you don't want to see or think about.
Oh
But
boy. Okay. I'm
um,
back out. This is a roller coaster.
I mean, I think I would say you could. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to recommend anybody watch it because it is pretty depraved. But
It sort of has to be like one of those things where I'm just like, where I have to be like over your house and we're in your basement and you just put it on, and I'm
yeah,
like,
that might
oh,
that,
that would
that
have
might
to
happen
like,
at some point. But what one thing that I do want to mention outside of, because there's like a really cool, well, not cool, there's interesting history behind this. So Pasolini, Pier Paolo Pasolini, like he has a collection or like a box set in the Criterion Collection with like 10 other movies that this is the only one of his movies that I've seen. But so he's like a pretty well regarded famous director, Italian, I believe, Italian director from this era. This was his last movie, and he was murdered shortly after
oh shit,
because of like the political statements he was making in this.
yikes.
So it's a very interesting story how he died. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. Basically, he was found beaten, run over by a car, and burned. So
Good.
his dead body was found like that.
My goodness.
And then a few days later, they found this young guy, like early 20s, I think, driving his car around. And the guy confessed and said that he did it. Come to find out, like 20, 30 years later or something, 2005, I think it was, he retracted his admission, his confession. He said that he didn't do it. And there's a bunch of like forensic evidence like that supports his claims that he didn't actually do it. Like, I guess at the time they knew that it was like multiple people, and he didn't have any like defensive wounds on him. He was a small guy. Pasolini was like a bigger guy, stronger guy. So there's like
Interesting.
no way this guy could have done it.
Wow.
Anyways, turns out they think that his story is true. Where these neo-fascists like actually are the ones who killed him. Super interesting story. I won't bore you anymore with it.
It's
I
not
can tell
boring.
you're
It's
bored, but it's
like
super
great
interesting
mystery.
to me.
Yeah.
The story about how he died because of the movie, basically.
Wow. All right. So Salo, the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's it. That's the Criterion recommendations. One from me that you can't get, and one from Keith that you shouldn't watch.
It's fun to talk about stuff like
Yeah.
that, though. It's just one of those ones where it's like, I just really wanted to watch it because of its, status and history, and just it's one of those well-known movies that I just wanted to check off my list.
Absolutely. It's kind of sat that way for me, but I just feel like it may sit on that list forever.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple, like I've heard about that movie Happiness. I don't ever want to watch it because of the subject matter I've heard.
Sure.
And then like a Serbian film, I don't think I ever want to watch that.
Oh,
That's
hell
not in
no.
the collection, but
No.
I remember I remember Josh just telling us what that movie was about like years ago when we were visiting you guys in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And like getting physically sick to my stomach hearing what that movie was about. So
Absolutely.
I don't think I'm ever gonna watch that one. But
Same.
yeah.
Same. Okay. Well, on that bright note, should we get out of the episode?
All right, yeah. If you don't have anything else to talk about, that's gonna do it for us, you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please leave us a rating and review. And also check us out on YouTube. You can find us there at High Volume Video. I'm not really making too many videos these days, but we post
He'll
the
be back.
podcast there.
Yeah, you'll be back though.
Yeah. I started doing 31 Days of Horror thing. Like I was like just keeping track of the movies I watched in my first week, and then I kind of lost steam right away.
It happens. That's okay.
But
Just
yeah.
keep it up.
Okay. All right. Thanks again, everybody. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Return to Videotech.